Hey guys, so today we're going to talk about how to play a little bit faster. I know that wasn't the best intro, but you get the idea. First thing I want to talk about is, my disclaimer is, I'm not the fastest guitar player there is. I'm faster than some, I'm slower than a lot more. Okay, so I'm well aware of that, and I'm good with it. I can play fast enough to play what I want to play. Okay, and that's number one. The goal is to play fast enough to play what you want to play. Okay? Number two, keep in mind that fast is most of the time it's just an illusion. And it's relative based. What do I mean by that? Well, what I mean is, if you're playing fast, quote unquote, if you're playing fast, but you've got a fast song that you're playing with, you may not sound as fast, even though you are playing fast. Right? Because there's just so much going on in the backdrop of the music that it makes you sound not necessarily as fast as you would sound. On the other side, if the song's really, really slow, you might actually sound faster than you are. Because, again, it's relative to the music that you're already playing. Right? Okay, so just kind of keep that in mind. It's all relative. And you want to play to the speed that's needed for you to enjoy it and play the songs that you want to play. Alright, but there are some technical things you can do to make you sound fast if that's what you're really going for. Alright, number one, warm up. Your hands are muscles. They need to be exercised and stretched out like they're muscles. You can see that I'm actually stretching my hands right here. Okay. Just like if you're an athlete and you're going to play basketball or something like that, you would stretch, maybe do some warm-up shots and stuff like that just to get your blood flowing, get your muscles warmed up so that you don't hurt yourself. You don't want to try to do this cold. It can really mess with you. And of course, I'm doing it in the middle of December, actually almost to the end of December, so I'm in the middle of winter doing it cold, which is why I'm having to, stretch out my hands some more. Number two, be really careful. Okay, it's great, it's fun to play fast, but be very careful physically and psychologically. Don't get discouraged. This is just technique things. You can build up speed over time. Probably we all have our limits to where we're going to get to speed-wise, and that's fine. You just have to be comfortable with who you are, and that's great. Alright, next part. So, and I'll probably do another video on great warm-up exercises, kind of some stuff I used to play around. But just as an example, if you want to warm up, I generally just play a little bit just to get the blood flowing. So I might just sit around and do something like, just something that simple, just to get the blood flowing. I would normally spend probably a good 10-15 minutes of just jamming out and doing whatever, playing slower things at first. Playing the slower things to warm up is great for warming up your muscles and getting them to where you can play the faster stuff. Now, I've not done a lot of slow playing before this video. That's why it's kind of, I'm not really where I should be warmed up wise, but I just wanted to kind of walk through my warm-up ideas with you guys so that you can see what I'm actually doing to warm up. And again, I would normally spend probably maybe 10, 15, 20 minutes just... And what happens over time, you can hear that sounds a little rough. What happens over time, as you're warming up more, it gets more smooth. Because your muscles are getting woke up and the blood's flowing good. Alright, next step. Alright, it's going to sound a little counterintuitive. But the next thing you want to do is when you're trying to learn a specific fast riff, you want to slow the whole riff down to the level of, the weakest part of the riff. So, like, let's say if I've got to play a riff, it could be something like something like that, and I know that it's hard for me to pick, because in this riff I'm having to, I don't know if you can see this, but I'm having to pick between the G string and the B string. Alright, let's just suppose that my picking between those two strings is not great. Then instead of trying to do, fast where it's easy and then slow where it's hard, I just slow the whole thing down to the level that I can pick between those two strings. So, and if I start speeding up and it sounds too messy, and where I don't like the way it sounds, and messy, it's really up to you, because there's a lot of art to this. Some styles of music actually are better for this messy, for like the messy style, and some are not. So that's really up to you what you want to do with that. But yeah, slow it down to the point of like the weakest point of the riff. As the old saying goes, you're only as strong as your weakest link, like a chain. All right, so I would do that, and once you get it smooth at the slow speed, right, to where everything is operating, let's pretend like I can pick between these two strings at 100 beats per minute. Then I need to slow the whole deal down to 100 beats per minute. Once I can play the whole deal at 100, then maybe I'll boost it up to 120, right? And these are just numbers. It's not necessarily that you're literally, 100, 110, 120, because that works, I think, for some people. For me, it's never really worked great. I've tried it that way. It's not really been my thing. I'm more like an epiphany guy. I like to figure out how to play it fast and then slow it down, because it's going to sound kind of messy fast until you figure it out. So I'll just slow it down to the point just to fix that one picking problem, and then I just speed it back up, right? Tagline to that is, if you will play slow like you're wanting to play fast. Did I say that right? Alright, so the idea is this. Be comfortable playing slow. Like, whatever slow means to you, be comfortable there. Okay? And really put passion and soul into that speed. Because what happens is our body has like this natural rhythm. Alright, just like when you walk or something, if you listen to music and your head kind of, you may not even be paying any attention. Your body just kind of grabs a hold of that rhythm. And it's just a natural thing. Alright, so if I'm just playing something, if I want to be able to play faster, I might just play something slow, put on a backing track or something, and just rock out with it, playing like slow stuff, but really strong. Like, it might be, instead of trying to go fast, I might do this. So I know so to kind of put that, what Michelangelo Badio called impulse power into it, instead of, warp speed impulse power. And making all those exaggerated picking motions. Alright, so you notice when I'm playing, is not necessary to do. It helps me learn faster if I just pick up the whole guitar, right? Because I want my body to know this is the bend, and I'm just exaggerating it on purpose. Alright, so that kind of idea. And when your body gets used to exaggerating it, when it speeds up a little bit, right, you still feel the, you'll probably notice when I was playing slow, like I was bobbing my head to every note. Okay, so when you speed up, your body, since that's the way you've gotten used to play it, your body wants to do the same thing, have that same feel, and so it naturally just speeds up with it a little bit. So, right, so if I'm going, see, I mean, it's a, like I'm feeling the same, I'm like, you know, that same kind of feel, like I'm feeling it. One good example of what helped me was thinking of fast riffs, like fast runs, almost just like fast riffs, like rhythms. So if I'm going like, or something like that, right? I can use that. I can use that little thing and move it around the scale and stuff. So that kind of same idea, and just move it around, and it gives me, based off of a song I may already know, it allows me to take that, speed it up a little bit, and just move it around the neck, and allows me to basically create this fast sound off of songs I already know how to play. So it's that kind of a deal. Alright, next piece. Now, after I just got done telling you to slow it down and fix the small problems, let me caution you, don't get too caught up in trying to be perfect. Right? Nobody's perfect. Now, there's a caveat to it. This is a video on how to play fast, not how to be perfect. If you're the guy that needs to be perfect, this is not the video for you. Okay? Honestly, I'm being straightforward with you. But you will polish up over time. You'll learn how to hold your pick a little differently. You'll learn how to, use certain techniques and all this that will polish up the speed sound over time. But you will keep yourself down if you have to be perfect before you're willing to try it this much faster. In my opinion, that's why I was talking about with the metronome. In my opinion, it doesn't work to just stay at 100 beats per minute for 6 months trying to perfect that thing, whatever you're playing. It doesn't work, in my opinion. Because one of the things about guitar players is we're so passionate, we want to get somewhere, right? And so maybe spend 15 minutes a day before you actually start playing the fast stuff. Maybe spend some time playing it slow, right? Just to put it back in your brain, what both hands are doing and all that. Just like I was doing when I was playing slow like that. That might be the slow riff. So I might turn on the backing track and practice like. And I might do that for 10, 15, 20 minutes when I'm practicing. But then, if I want to play fast, I'm going to speed it up even if it sounds rough. Now that sounded okay, I guess. And do it to the point where you fell. I messed that one up bad. Right? Because you've got to get past the point of trying to be perfect. If you try to be perfect, you might get to being perfect at 100 beats per minute. But you'll never play fast. And if you do, I say you never, but you'll probably never play fast. I say probably. There probably are some people out there who got fast just a little bit at a time. And that's fine. If it works for you, perfect. But this is what works for me. So, I would say don't worry about being perfect. Just worry about getting better and polishing up. Like, play it slow to get it in your system, and then try to speed it up. Play it slow, get it in your system, speed it up, right? And keep doing that back and forth, until you really have it under your fingers. Alright. Now, this is kind of, again, a little bit philosophical, but it actually works really well. We all get into patterns of playing certain chords and certain riffs and runs with a certain fingering. Alright? Which is good because it puts the repetition in your brain and you don't have to think about it that hard when you're actually playing. Especially when you're improvising, you don't have to think about it that much. Here's the problem. We get accustomed to using the muscles that we're using to do that. So if I play an E chord like this, alright, nothing wrong with that. But it would actually behoove me and make me a better player to learn how to play E like this. Now, I'm hitting the exact same notes in the same spot on the fretboard. I just swapped out my fingers. So I put the middle finger where my first finger currently is and moved it, my first finger out of the way. Then I took my ring finger and put it where the middle finger was. And now this leaves the pinky open to play where my ring finger was. Now you say, why do you want to do that? Well, a couple reasons. One, because we get accustomed to using certain muscles and we get accustomed to seeing the fretboard a certain way. Okay? For the sake of this video, we're going to talk about the fact that you use the muscles, the same muscles over and over again, so you just kind of get into a rut of using those muscles. If I get like this, if I get in a habit where I can play like an E chord, like that, then what happens is I start strengthening this, like my pinky, and I start strengthening these other fingers in a way they haven't been done. So when I go to play riffs that are hard for me, because I'm strengthening muscles and making my hand overall stronger, it makes the riffs easier to play. So I would definitely recommend challenging yourself. If you're playing a G chord like this, switch your fingers around. Play it like that, right? Not changing the notes necessarily, or the frets, but just changing the fingers you're choosing to play them with. I've seen people play A chords all kind of ways. You got A like this, this. I thought this one was really weird. I don't know why anybody would play A like this, but it works, right? And so I learned how to play it like that. Now this opens up my pinky. I can play that A7 chord in a different fashion, and it allows me to see the guitar in a different way. And I'm not going to go into what I did with that afterwards, just because it's not important for this video, right? But, you know, later on I can do that. Alright, so what we're looking at is using different fingers than we're accustomed to using, so that we can strengthen different muscles and make hard riffs easier to play. Alright, moving on. Alright, I have to get my drink. Alright, now this kind of gets into a little bit, I say philosophical a lot, because most of it is about the way you think about it. So this part's kind of getting into like the mathematical part of it. Alright, and this is, again, I kind of learned this from Michelangelo Badio, and he calls it economy of motion. Now, that's a fancy way of saying if you want to play faster, move less. Right? Okay. And I would even assert that if you want to play faster, you can pick less. Because the less I have to do, the less I have to work, the easier it is to play fast. Alright, so if I insist that I have to pick every single note, like, or like, now I can do that, right? And kind of that Yngwie style stuff. I can do that. But as you can see, I'm having to work my right arm. I'm having to. And if that's the sound you're looking for, that's what you do. It's alternate picking. That's what you would go for. But if, again, this is a video on how to play faster, not necessarily follow a certain technique. So you have to understand the principle behind what makes it fast. And one of the things that makes it fast is play it with as little work as possible. Okay? So, in a way, one technique to do that is legato. Legato being using mostly hammer-ons and pull-offs. It's less picking work, and legato really is the fastest way to play. And that goes into different forms, tapping and, you know, hammerings and pulls. Because if I'm playing this with picking, That kind of deal, right? It's fine to play it like that. But if I want to speed it up, then I can pick less. And it just becomes natural. Maybe I pick once. Maybe I don't pick at all. I'm actually going to take my pick. I was trying to demonstrate taking my pick off, right? And I'm doing that so I don't usually take my pick that far off of the guitar because I use my hand to mute, but I was just trying to demonstrate that I'm not picking at all. It's all hammers and pulls. And so on, right? Right? So, picking less. That is definitely a way to play faster. Like, get there right. Much faster right now. Make your riffs easier to play. So, that's really all I'm going to say about that. And the last thing I'm going to add to it is, and I always kind of thought this was cheating a little bit. But again, this is a video on how to sound faster. Right? And so, if the goal is just to sound faster, it's not necessarily to be better. And I'm actually going to throw that in right here. Okay, so being faster does not mean you're a better player. It just means that you sound faster. That's it. You don't have to be a great player to be fast. And just because you're fast doesn't mean you're a great player. Okay, so I want to just make that distinction. Because if the goal is to sound fast, then you do whatever it takes to sound fast. If that means that you have to do it just using legato because you can't pick that fast, do it. And over time, you can do exercises to pick up on your picking hand, right? So that you can get faster to do it. Okay, but for the topic of this video, if you will let go of some of that ego that says, I have to be this fantastic guitar player, all that's cheating, and trust me, I had these ego issues. All that's cheating, blah, blah, blah. Just forget all that. Just keep in mind, if the goal is to play fast and not to necessarily be the most technically good player, then you do whatever it takes to sound good. You do whatever it takes to sound fast if that's the goal. And this is going to be an obvious one. Now, I said pick less so that, you're getting more out of every picked note if you're picking at all. But there's something else you can do to get even more out of every note you play, and that's put delay on your amp. Right? It makes the notes hold out longer, but if I just pick like, and I don't know if I've got delay on my amp, so I don't know if you can hear this, but okay, that's one pick, one single, and that's it. Boom, and it's done. Okay, and I may, even if I'm playing like, now that sounds fast and that's fine, but if I'm doing that, I'm still only getting one note per every note I pick or play or pull off or whatever. If I put delay on my amp, it goes from being one note to multiple notes. Okay, so if I just play, and you can decide how many you want, but let's just mathematically say, let's say if I get two notes because it's repeating the note for every one I play, I only have to play half as fast to get the same notes. I have to put half as many notes to get the same effect. Now, again, this is not about a video on how to be the technically best player. And we're not even going to get into the topic of whether or not that harms your playing. I don't think it harms it. I think you just need to know that there's a difference between being fast and being good. So if you're just trying to sound fast, throw some delay on your amp. Right? There's some couple other just quick things. Honestly, just one more. I said one more, but I'm going to add another one here. Is flipping up here to the neck pickup makes it sound cleaner, and sometimes playing higher seems to do the trick too. Like you can play the same riff here, like if I can play it maybe in the right spot, and same riff, just an octave higher. Not going any faster. right? So neck pickup, playing a little higher notes sometimes helps out, and doubling up notes, which we just talked about with the delay, right? Now you can also double it up with your pick if you wanted to. Like you could go, instead of going, just double up the whole riff. That kind of deal. Even slow it down. And so on, right? Alright, and again, just practice with it. It's about having fun and enjoying what you're doing. You don't want to set yourself up in such a way that you can't enjoy what you're doing. You'll quit. You'll either quit or you'll stay stagnant where you are forever and not feel great about it. And I'm not going to go back onto the don't try to be perfect deal. But just try to get better, get more smooth as time goes on. And I definitely always recommend playing with a band. Alright, great. Well, thanks for listening, and I hope these tips helped you out.